Hello guys, welcome to my channel. So in this video I'm back with one more interview video, and here in this video I have taken the interview of a candidate who is having more than 4 years of experience working with Java, Spring Boot and microservices. So before we move on to the video, if you are new to my channel, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. Now let's first talk about what is going to be the agenda of this video. So in the agenda or in this video, what we are going to talk about is, first I'm going to show you the entire interview video, which is going to be roughly around 30 minutes long, and it's not mandatory for you to see because there are going to be a few questions which were not answered correctly in the interview. And what I'm going to do is, even if you try to skip that interview video, afterwards I'm going to answer all the questions what I thought could be answered better. So those are the questions that I will take care of after the interview video. So even if you take a look, then that's good, because that is how you are going to get the idea of how you can improve yourself and where you have to improve yourself. So even when I'm trying to ask the questions to the interviewee, you can try to answer yourself, like while pausing the video, to think of what could be the answer. And if the candidate is answering correctly, and if you are not able to figure out the answer, then you have gotten one extra thing, right? So it's not a waste of time. You can take a look because it is going to give you a lot of details. Lastly, I'm going to cover how can we improve ourselves and how can we improve our chances of getting shortlisted in the interview. So there are going to be a certain important things that I want to talk about, and you have to watch this video entirely to get that information, or you can just skip to that, because I have already told you that it is going to be the end of the video, right? Now first let's see the interview video, then we will talk about the questions. Hi Sachin, can you hear me?
Yes. Hello. Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks. What about you?
Uh, Great. Thank you for asking. Okay, so you are comfortable. Can we start?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Okay. Hi Sachin, myself Prashant, and I will be taking your interview. I have around 6+ years of experience working with Java technologies and
Mm-hmm.
some other tech stack also, right?
Okay.
And I am working currently as a senior software engineer in a product-based organization. So this
Mm-hmm.
was brief about me. Can you brief about yourself?
Sure. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, good, good. Okay, so how comfortable are you with Java? Like
Yeah.
out of 10, how would you rate yourself?
Yeah, nearby 7.
7. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll start with basics then. So,
Sure.
what are OOPS principles? Just tell me the names first.
Like objects, class, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism. These are
Object and classes are OOPS principles.
not principles, but they are part of object-oriented programming.
Okay, so what are the principles then?
Principles like inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation.
Okay, so these four are the
Yeah,
principles, right? Okay, okay. What is the difference between abstraction and encapsulation?
abstraction means hiding the internal details and showing only functionality.
Mm-hmm.
So we can in our Java there is a uh, abstract class and interface. So they are
Mm-hmm.
showing the only functionality and hiding the internal details with abstract methods. And
Okay,
encapsulation means wrapping up data into a single unit, like a class in our Java. So class that encapsulates the data members and member functions in a single unit. So best example is a bin class.
bean class.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me give you a scenario.
Mhm.
So the client is asking for creating a lift service, right? So this lift service is going to have the functionality of opening the doors, closing the doors,
Mhm.
and going up, going down.
Mm-hmm.
and there will be some kind of restrictions that if the lift is going up or is going down, then the door cannot be closed or cannot be opened, right? So there are
Mm-hmm.
some so basic lift functionality, right,
Mm-hmm.
that we all use.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, do you think we should use abstraction or encapsulation or any other uh, principle? Do you think that
Yes.
there is?
So yeah. So in this case, we'll use the abstraction over here. So users
Okay.
only know the floor floor number. So if he press for the he should I mean he don't know the internal details what is internally going on. So
Mhm.
here we can use abstraction. Then
Okay. So abstraction you will use using abstract class or interfaces?
okay, here we will use abs- abstract class.
Okay.
In
Why abstract class?
in that we will have the some abstract methods and non-abstract methods also.
Uh, why would we need non-abstract methods? You said we are going to use abstraction and we
Mhm.
only want to show the users the number that he want to press, not what is happening behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, actually, yeah, we can only use interfaces only, interface also. So just showing the buttons to the users.
Okay, so
Yeah,
can you think of any scenario where you think abstract class will be more eligible than interfaces?
abstract class. Um, where I mean, where we have to show some functionality to users and some not. I mean, partially if you have to show the users and partially not, then we can use abstract class over there.
Okay, I think that is true, but that is also the definition. Can you
Hmm.
think of any scenario where this can be applied?
Okay, scenario. Mm, scenario. Let's say our lift is there, but lift is uh, visible. I mean, it's a making of the glass. We can see the outside of that mm, uh, lift. Then we can see the details of the wire ropes and all over there.
But why would we see wires? Like, okay, no worries. Okay, then let's proceed ahead.
Mm.
Um, okay, have you heard of string pool?
Yes, yes.
Okay, why do we need string pool? What is the benefit of having string pool?
In string pool, if we let's suppose one example, there are 500 objects are there. So
Hmm.
and for 500 objects, let's say student class is there and 500 objects are there for, and there is a one field is a college name. So that is college name is string, and
Hmm.
so for each um, student, there will be college name field equal to field will be the same, college name will be the same. So for 500 letters will be created over there. 500 memories will be created over there in the memories. So it will be a waste of time. So waste of memory. So we are creating the string pool in the string constant pool in memory area. So it will reference to the it will create the reference only one reference over there, and it so all others will be point to the only one that one.
Okay, Sachin, you said college as
Hmm.
an object, right? So
Hmm.
can we create a literal of college object?
Literal of college object.
You said we can create 100 objects, and if we do, then literals will be created,
Hmm.
right? So, but here we are taking the example of college. So college can be created as a literal.
No, no,
Is
no.
that true?
College is a variable. So and college name is a literal. So uh,
So what
uh,
is the type of that college? Is the type college
string.
a string? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you create 100 strings of the same name,
Hmm.
okay, 100 strings of the
Yes, yes.
same name, how
Hmm.
many objects will get created?
Only one. So
Why?
if
Why?
all the names or college name will be the same for each student,
Mhm,
so it will
mhm.
create the only one instance in the string constant pool memory area. So uh, so memory saves over there. So it is a so they will be created immutable object.
Okay. So the benefit of having string pool is that we will not be creating same object multiple times,
Correct.
right? That is
Yeah.
what you are saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So I am giving you one example on the chat
Mm-hmm.
window.
Mm-hmm.
Take a look there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you can see that there is this string s equals to t, and then we have string s1 equals to new string t, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now what I want to do is I want to print whether they both are equal or not. So I'm doing s dot equals s1, right? What will
Mm-hmm.
this print?
Um, it will print true.
Okay, it will print true.
Equals
Okay.
yeah.
What about this one?
So it will print false
Why false?
because yes, string yes equal to t is stored in a string constant pool area, and string s1 equal to string stored in a heap memory area. So uh, both the address is different. So s1 yes equal to s1 is comparing with the address, so it will give the false, and equals check the contents.
Okay, let me give you one more thing. Have you heard of intern method in Java?
Yes, yes.
What is that?
Return method, I think, removes the extra space. I think,
Okay, then what is trim?
huh?
Then what is trim method? Trim.
Trim. Yeah,
Yes.
trim also. I'm confusing between these two methods now.
Okay, no worries, no worries. So you were you were right about this. So let me extend this question a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now there is string s2 equals to new string t, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm checking whether s1 equals s2. What will this print?
Okay. String S1 2. It will give true.
It will give true. Okay. Okay. Okay, then let's move ahead. Have
Mm-hmm.
you worked on any collections yet?
Yes, yes.
Which collection are you most comfortable with?
Array list.
Array list. Okay. So what is the difference between array and array list?
Array is a legacy class which is does not dynamically grows. I mean, if we give this,
Is array
we
and
have to,
class in Java?
huh?
Is array and class? Is array a class in Java?
Array is a type. Uh, Array is a type where we can store the same type of elements.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, go ahead then.
Yeah. So array store the fixed size of elements, where the in array list we can store the we can store the multiple elements dynamically. So in array list the size of array list grows the dynamically.
Okay. So how does the size grows dynamically in array list?
uh, so the default size is a 10 of array list, and then I think load factor is 0.75 something is there. Yeah. And so when that 0.75 loads, then uh, size dynamically grows by 1.5. into 1.5.
What? Okay, what do you mean by 0.75? How does it comes into play?
Size, I mean, when seven elements are added in that list, array list, then again the size grows dynamically.
What is the default capacity?
10.
10. So you said when we insert 7 elements, then it will grow by 1.5.
Yes, yes.
And how is that decided? Like here, I don't
1.5
see
means
point 0.7.
one, one, one and a half. I mean, again, 115 by 15.
So what will be the size then? So default capacity is 10 here, right? According
Yes.
to you. So what will be the next size then?
When 7 added, then again it's added by 15.
So
Then
10 plus
when
15, 25.
no, no, no. Yeah, and the total size will be 25.
Okay.
Yeah, like this.
Okay. So which one is faster? Let's say I want to store 10 values. So I can choose array or array list. So what do
Uh,
you think which one will be faster?
array will be faster than over there.
For storage, array will be faster.
Yes, yes. So we
Okay.
know that we have to just store the tail element fixed size. Then we can go
Mhm.
with array.
What about if I want to get the values, then which will be faster?
Get the values.
Hmm.
Mm, So yeah, so getting also array is faster because I mean we can go array list only when we have to I mean dynamically we have to add the multiple elements. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. Any other collection other than array list have you worked on?
yeah, linked list, hash set, linked hash set, hash map, hash set.
Okay. Hash map. Okay. Uh, okay. So I want to ask the internal functionality of hash map. I will give you one scenario. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I have one, let's say student class,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So this student class is going to be having name, ID, and let's say roll number.
Mm-hmm.
ID and name, that's it. Student is
Okay.
having ID and name,
Name.
right?
Okay. Mm.
Now you want to store
Mm-hmm.
this student list into a
Mm-hmm.
hash map.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so your hash map is going to be integer comma student,
Correct.
right? So this integer value, this integer key is going to be the student ID, and the second value that is going to be the whole student object,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
here my requirement is that I want to make this workable in my thread safe environment.
Okay.
This hash map should be thread safe in a multi-threaded environment. So how will you achieve this?
So first of all, we will add this hash map into the uh, synchronized map. Map dot synchronized.
Okay, let's say we don't want to change hash map. We have to use hash map. Then
Okay. So in that case, we will override the hash code and equals method, and in equals.
why? Why?
Uh, so if we store the student of ID and name with the same multiple times, then it will create the multiple same student multiple times. But um, uh, so same object we have to store only once, right? So for that
Mhm.
we have to override equals method over there.
Okay, Sachin,
And
question is that you have to make this hash map thread safe.
so we will use concurrent hash map.
Other than that, anything else you can think of?
Um,
Okay, let me give you one more hint. How can you
Mm-hmm.
convert a hash map to concurrent hash map? Let's say the implementation
Mm-hmm.
which is written, we don't have that code. We can
Mm-hmm.
use it because we have the jar, but we cannot modify the code. So now how will you convert this hash map to concurrent hash map?
What to we can create concurrent hash map and directly you can assign this hash map to that concurrent hash map.
Okay. Will that be okay? Will that work?
Yes, that will work because we are assigning that old hash map to the our new concurrent hash map, and we can work on the new concurrent hash map.
Okay. Okay. So let me give you one scenario that you have a choice that either
Mm-hmm.
you can use the hash map and
Mm-hmm.
convert it to concurrent hash map.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or you can use one more way, which is collections dot synchronized map, which
Mm-hmm.
is a method which can
Mm-hmm.
convert hash map to a synchronized hash map.
Yes, yes, correct.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
which one will you use, concurrent hash map here or synchronized hash map?
Uh, so we will use concurrent hash map over here because in concurrent hash map does not get, I mean, object is does not get whole lock. It locks the only some of the portion only. So the performance is improved more in concurrent hash map.
Okay, okay. Let's say I have 10 values, 10 key value
Mm-hmm.
pairs in my
Mm-hmm.
concurrent hash map. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that it will not lock the entire map, but some portion of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how will Java decide that the element, the key value pair which I'm trying to get,
Mm-hmm.
you have to lock there or you don't have to lock there? How is Java deciding that?
Mm, actually, I don't know the deep internal working of that locking mechanism.
Okay,
What portion locks or not?
okay, okay, no worries. So then let's move ahead. So have you worked on multi-threads yet? Multi-threaded
Yes, yes.
environment. Okay. So let's say I want to share an object between
Mm-hmm.
multiple threads.
Mm-hmm.
So how will you pass that object from one thread to another?
We have to make it synchronized
No, I have to pass one object from one thread to another.
to pass. Okay.
Let's say my thread one is doing
Mm-hmm.
some calculation, and
Mm-hmm.
after that calculation, it has to return the result to my
Mm-hmm.
second thread,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So how will you do that?
Uh, by volatile also we can uh, make that right.
Okay, okay, okay. No worries. What is like why we have wait, notify, and notify all methods in our object class and not in thread,
Not in thread, but it is in object class. Yes. So
right? Because we use this
yes,
these methods in with our thread.
yes, yes, that's correct. I didn't think in that way. No, don't know what.
Okay, no worries. Okay, let's then move ahead. So have you worked on design patterns yet? Like, have you used any design patterns?
Yes, yes, like singleton, abstract factory, adapter, prototype.
Okay, okay. Let's do one quick coding exercise. Okay, let's
Mm-hmm.
share your screen and open
Okay.
anything where you want to write. Okay, so now my requirement is that you
Mm-hmm.
have to use the singleton design pattern, but the
Mm-hmm.
catch is that that singleton design pattern has to be thread safe.
Okay.
Or let's start slow. Just write down the logic for simple singleton design pattern.
Okay. Okay.
Singleton class. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, let me start line by line then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, at line number
Mm-hmm.
5, can this
Yes.
be called out by everyone? Let's say I create a new object of singleton EX.
Mm-hmm.
Singleton EX. Okay, let me write that down also on the chat window.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, according to your code, singleton EX equals to new singleton EX. Can this be allowed?
Singleton EX equal to new singleton. Yes, this is allowed.
Okay, but if I do that, I can create as many objects as I want,
No, no, no. We
and this.
cannot create with new keyword.
But I can because your code is allowing it.
Sorry, I forget here to add the private.
Okay, but was that the problem? Okay, when we
To create.
create a new, when we use new keyword,
Mm-hmm.
what does it call internally? What does it uses internally to create an object? Does
Uh,
it use variable, instance, or constructor or method?
constructor.
Okay, so your constructor is now private. Previously,
Yes,
it was private void, so it was a method, not a constructor.
yes, yes.
Okay, so now it is private, but I can change the value of your singleton EX,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because this is not a constant. At line number 5,
Mm-hmm.
your instance is not fixed. I can
Mm-hmm.
change the value. So when I change the value, then it is going to create another
But how can change
object.
value? Yeah, we have make it as a private, and if we are accessing, if we are trying to accessing it, uh, uh, if we have to access this singleton object, then we have to call the get instance method, and then we will
Hmm.
get the. If it is null, then only then it will create new one, and if it is not null, then it will get existing one.
Okay. So is there any way that this design pattern singleton can be broken down?
Uh, yes, I
Like,
mean, if multiple threads are trying to accessing, then it will break the singleton property.
okay,
So,
okay, okay,
so for that we have to make this as a synchronized this like this.
okay. So at line number 5, you have written the instance, but your method from where you are calling this instance is static. So can we
Yes,
call non-static variable from a static method?
no, no,
But your instance is non-static.
no. I mean, if we have to call this method get instance, then we have to make the use of the class name and dot that method class name dot get instance.
Yeah, but this is going to be a compilation error. See where you have went wrong.
Not able to find actually figure out.
Okay, no worries then. Something to look at maybe after the interview, right?
Sure, 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 sure.
Yeah. Okay, then let's proceed ahead. So now let me ask you a few questions on databases or any ORM tool that you have worked on yet. So have you used
Mm,
Hibernate?
no, no, we are using the JDBC templates only. So work
Okay, so you have used
execute.
JDBC, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and have you worked on queries yet?
Query means we are using. I mean, we are treating the simple queries only. For more complex queries, that TL provides us. Technology analyst provides us queries, and we are using that queries into our JDBC templates.
Okay, okay. So let's say someone is giving you a query and you are not sure uh, if it will work or not, and
Mm-hmm.
you are putting it where exactly in your code.
So actually, firstly we verify that before adding on our
How?
PL SQL tool. We have PL SQL tool, and that we
Mm-hmm.
log in and we execute that query on PL SQL tool. And after that
Okay,
only we are adding that your query in our JDBC template.
okay. So you are using JDBC template. Okay,
Yes, yes.
okay. So have you used JDBC connection pool yet? database connection pool?
No, no, no. In JDBC
Okay.
template, we don't have to care about connection, prepare statement, closing connection. So it will take care automatically. We have to just create configuration database URL in configuration files.
So are you using Spring JDBC template?
Yes, yes,
Okay, then so you have used Spring in that case, right?
yes.
Okay, so let me give you a scenario that you have again a student table,
Mm-hmm,
and you want to grab all the student objects, rows
mm-hmm,
actually, and you have to create a list of student. How will
mm-hmm.
you do that using Spring JDBC template? Can you write down the code for that?
Uh, can you please once repeat once? I didn't get it.
Okay, you have a student table,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
okay, and you want to get all the students from that table,
mm-hmm.
and you have to store it into a list of type student. So
List of type
now,
student. Okay.
right, so you can write list of type student, generic type student,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yes.
how will you get this? You have used Spring JDBC template, right? So
Yeah.
you have to,
So
so here you have to write the query.
yeah. So we will write a query that select star from student. Uh, so
Mm-hmm.
we want all the student in a list, right? Uh,
Right.
yeah. So we will write a query as a select star from student,
Mm-hmm.
and
Then,
that we will use that query in the like we are first of all we are creating the object of JDBC template. So
okay,
like
how do you
yeah,
create that? How do you
yeah,
create that?
JDBC template. We have already I mean inbuilt class is there JDBC template, and with AutoWide we can create the JDBC object over there. And with JDBC object, we have the multiple methods in JDBC template,
Mm-hmm.
like query for list, query for object. So we will use query for list over there. And in that first parameter is our query. Then second will be the input parameters, and the third will be the in what context we are getting. So we want that in output in our list of student. Then we will provide over the list of student over there. Yeah.
Okay, and what will happen inside that? So are you sure like there won't be any anonymous function there?
Anonymous function.
Have you heard of row mapper?
Uh, yes, yes. Romapper.
Okay, so in your query list, do you use that query for list method? Will we use row mapper?
Uh, Here Romapper is not required because all the student I mean all the records will be directly stored in the our list of student.
How will that happen? Because your table may be in different order and your class, student class, may be in different order. So how will Java handle, or how will Spring handle this? How will Spring map table column to your class variable? How will that happen if you don't map it?
uh, we have to use over there the result set, result set dot class. So in that result set we will get all the uh, uh, records, and from that result set while it was while it's null, then we can use while over there. And while rs dot next we'll make that loop, and we will get each and every element, and like rs dot next int, rs dot next string, like this, and we can get that in a string class, sorry,
So
student class.
okay. So now let me ask you,
Mm-hmm.
if I were using Hibernate here
Mm-hmm.
instead of Spring JDBC template, was there any
Mm-hmm.
benefit?
I'm not aware about Hibernate actually.
Okay.
Okay, so you said you will auto wire your JDBC template object, right?
Yes, yes.
Why do you need to auto wire it?
So we have to create a bin of that REST template over there to call the methods of uh, REST template. Sorry, JDBC
Okay,
template.
so if you don't create that instance and if you do JDBC template JD equals to new JDBC template, will that
Hmm.
create any issue?
So that will create the tightly coupled binding over there. But we want the loosely coupled, so we are creating working with the auto.
Okay, okay. So how does auto wire internally work? Like how does it prevent hard coupling? What does it
Uh,
internally use? Is there any technique, design pattern, maybe?
I think I think it follows the singleton design pattern in which the one object is created internally. Object not object,
Mhm.
but bin is created in the uh, that string sorry string container, and
Okay, okay. How many bean scopes are there?
five bin scope are there, like singleton, prototype, request,
Mhm.
session, and global session.
So by default, what is the bean scope?
Singleton.
Okay, okay then. Okay, I think this was all that I had. Do you have any
Mm-hmm.
question for me?
Nothing much, but the in what I mean, for which domain we are looking, you are looking for candidates.
So this is for a full stack developer role though. But
Okay.
if you have good understanding of Java, Spring, and Hibernate,
Mm-hmm.
uh, then like the position can be filled easily because front end is not that mandatory, but
Uh-huh.
it can be learned. It can be learned, right?
Yes, yes,
So
correct.
so here we have full stack role, but more weightage is given to backend.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay,
Mm,
anything else?
that's all. Nothing for now.
Okay, okay then. Okay, thank you, Sachin. It was a nice conversation. It was a nice
Mm,
like
yeah,
uh,
nice talking with you.
interview.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks
yeah.
for the
Have
time.
a
Thank
good
you
day.
so much.
Bye bye.
Yeah, same to you. Bye bye.
Alright, so now let's talk about the questions. So the first question, which I thought is a very important question for every Java developer, no matter your experience. So this question, which is OOPS principle. So what I'm expecting from the candidate is like you should just say that there are four principles in your OOPS concepts or in your OOPS programming language, and these are inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation, and abstraction. And you can simply ask the interviewer if he wants you to elaborate further on these four principles or not. If not, then you can skip. Otherwise, you can give a brief about all these four principles, but not too much, because that is going to be like a too much information, which I don't think every interviewer even hears. So that is that. Now what we should not say is like you should not say class and objects, because these are not the principles. These are like the main or core concept on which Java programming language was made on. So you can say that, but it doesn't make sense. Like these are the principles. So that is what I was expecting in this interview, and I can be wrong here, but that is what my expectation was, because that is what I know, right? Now let's move down to the next question, which is abstraction versus encapsulation. So this is my favorite topic, because this is how I figure out if the candidate has good exposure on OOPS principles or OOPS concepts or not. So what is abstraction and what is encapsulation? So first let's talk about that. So you can simply say that abstraction is going to prevent some extra information, which is like the user has to see the relevant information only, and he doesn't needs to know what is happening at the backend, right? So that is your abstraction. Now what is encapsulation? Encapsulation is like bundling a certain information or a packaging of information and then providing it thoroughly, right? So that is your encapsulation. Now why do I ask this question is like because I want to like here this exact thing that I have just said. Also you can say like both of them actually do the hiding, but how they hide, that is what these two principles differ in. So abstraction hides your unwanted information and encapsulation hide it into a single entity, right? So that is our encapsulation. Next question is why and when to use abstract class. So we already know that why we need abstract class is because abstract class is one of the way to implement abstraction, and abstract class can provide you a partial abstraction and full abstraction also. So depending on your development scenarios, if you require non-abstract methods to be in your class, then you can use abstract classes. Otherwise interfaces are always a good choice. So this can be your answer. Now another question could be why and how to implement encapsulation. So you can pretty much say that whenever we have a Pojo class, we usually do encapsulation, or you can take examples of access specifiers and access modifiers, saying that we can make our variables private and use setter and getter methods to further do the computation. So that is how you can implement encapsulation. Now let's come down to the next question, which is string pool. Alright, so I have written this article and this is my blog actually, so that is also new. So again, like what is string pool? Usually we don't see this question in interviews, but I usually ask this question because this actually provide me the information whether the developer has some in-depth knowledge or not, whether he tries to learn or not about how the JDK or the developers of Java try to build the Java, right? So this is for me a very important question, that is why I ask. So first question is what is string pool? So we know that string pool is a memory space, and this memory space is in your heap memory, and this is provided to us by JVM. And why is this being provided is because we want to remove the headache of more frequent garbage collection and just to make our performance better. So what is usually happening is like whenever we create a new object, it is going to create a new object in your memory, and it is going to take a lot of space, and string is like the most widely used class entirely in your development. So there are going to be a lot of objects which maybe are not being used right now, and we have just created them. So when we do the garbage collection, it is going to take a lot of time and it is going to affect your performance, right? So that was the thought of creating your string pool. Also previously before, like in your older versions, garbage collection was not actually that efficient. Usually garbage collection halt your application while doing the garbage collection, so that is one more headache, right? So that is why we created string pool. So here you can read that what I have said, like everyone knew that it will be the most used class, and as Java works on objects, we will be creating a lot of string objects, and if the size of these objects is not maintained properly, then it will reduce the performance of the application, right? So that is why a string pool came into the existence. So this is that. Now there are two ways to create your string. One is your string literal, and second one is using your new keyword to create objects, right? So whenever we create string literals, they always go down to your string pool, and string pool here you can see that it is inside your heap memory. So in this example you can see that S1 and S2 are having the same data, but there are no two objects being created in your string pool, only one object, because that is the thought of creating string pool, that same objects doesn't have to be redundant. Like we shouldn't create duplicates, we should only have one object with the data. So here S1 and S2 are going to refer to the same object, which is going to be hello. So when we do S1 equals S2, and here you should know that this equals operator checks the method, not the method, memory address, right? So this actually compares the memory address, so whether these two references are pointing to the same memory address or not. So here you can see that they are pointing to the same memory address or same object, so that is why this is going to be true. And when we check the equality actually just check the data content, what is being stored inside. So here it is always going to be true, right? So this is how we used to create string literals, and this is how we can create a string object. So if I try to create this object, then it will do two things. Here two objects will be created. So first object is going to be your hello object in your heap memory, and the second one is going to be your string literal, which is going to be in your string pool, right? So there are going to be two objects created in your string pool. So now why the second object was created in your string pool is because whenever another hello object is being created, then they won't actually create anything new. It is already there, right? So that is the added advantage of having string pool. So that is why it is creating two objects also. Now there is this intern method also, which is again a next interview question also. So what this intern method does is it converts your string object to string literal. So here you can see that this s3 is your string object, and here it is converting it to your string literal. So s3 is now your string literal holding to the value of hello in your string pool, right? So when we compare s1 and s3, this is going to be true because now they are pointing to the same object. But before this intern method, you can see that s1 equals s3 is going to return false, right? So that is how we can use intern, and that is the benefit of using intern. Now next question, array versus array list. So the basic difference and the most important difference is that the array is your fixed sized data structure, while array list is dynamic, which means that the size of the array list can be changed, right? So this is the basic and important difference. Now this leads down to the second question, which is how does size grows dynamically in array list. So we won't talk about this in detail, but in simpler terms, every array list is created using a default capacity, right? So that default capacity is what we have as of now, but whenever we reach the threshold that now we are going to be needing a lot more space, then it is going to roughly double the size. And what it does is it is going to create another array list of the size which is going to be the double of your previous array list, and then it is going to copy the content or copy the data of your previous array list to your new array list. So there is a particular formula also which you can say, but it's not needed. It's like old capacity plus half of your old capacity. So imagining that your old capacity is 10, so half of 10 is going to be 5, so adding 10 plus 5, which is going to be your 15, so that is going to be your new capacity. Or you can just do 1.5, one and a half into your old capacity, right? So that is how array list grows dynamically. Now coming down to the next question, does the custom object hash map key needs to be thread safe? So this question is little bit tricky. So why this question is tricky is because here I have set thread safe and not immutable, right? So usually our immutable classes or objects are thread safe, and what I meant here is like, do we have to even make our key in our hash map immutable? So yes, we do. Immutability is very much required because it is going to prevent changes on fields, which basically used to calculate your hash code, right? So key is very important because if we are able to change the key, then the hash code is going to be different, which is not going to be consistent throughout your program, which is going to give out unexpected results, right? So that is why like your key is going to be immutable. So that is that. Now coming down to the next question, so how to pass objects between multiple threads. So this question is again not a familiar or a popular question, but this actually can be asked if there is a specific requirement for multi-threading. So there are multiple ways to achieve this. You can either use synchronous queue or blocking queue, and there are certain more ways to do it. So what you should know is like, you should be aware of how we can do this, as in if let's say there are two threads and there is a particular object that you have to pass. So how will you actually do this is like what you will think of while developing this. It's not like you have to write down the entire logic. You just have to think of, and then you just have to let the interviewer know like what do you think. But eventually, if you are going to be precise here, the interviewer is going to know that you are good with multi-threading, or maybe you have used or worked on multi-threaded environment a lot, right? So that is that. And you can read more about synchronous queue and blocking queue for more information here. Now the next question, why wait, notify and notify all methods are in object class and not in thread class? Usually I ask this question like, can you please answer or tell me a few methods in your object class? And when people don't say wait, notify all, I ask this question. So this is going to be a tricky question again, because we use wait, notify and notify all methods in a threaded environment with threads actually, while these methods are available in object class. The answer that I'm expecting is like, these methods doesn't work on threads, these methods work on objects. That is why these methods are in object, right? That is going to be the answer, and this is going to be enough, right? So that is what the answer should be. And you can read more about monitors here and how are they being used in your threaded environment, and why are these monitors, like why I'm even saying monitor here, so that you can read more about. But I have already told you the answer, that is going to be enough for you, right? So that is that. Now the next question is singleton implementation. So I don't usually ask like directly, like write down the implementation of a singleton class. I usually first ask that can you name a few design patterns that you have worked on? So I haven't ever saw a guy not saying singleton design pattern, right? So this is a very popular topic for every interviewer also. So here what I'm expecting is that the interviewee should be able to write a simple singleton class for me. So now what is the answer here? Okay, so now to create a singleton class, there are few steps that have to be kept in mind, and they have to be there in your code. So first is that you have to create only one object. That is what I'm going to look for, that you have created only one object, and there are no way that another object can be created like without using reflection or other options. Now second thing is that you have to declare your constructor as private, that is that, and then you should have a static method which should return your instance, and you can use lazy initialization here, or you can use eager initialization, whatever works for you. Now your instance that you have created should be private and static, because your static method cannot use your non-static variables, right? So that is that, and that is what I'm looking for, right? So if you are able to write down the singleton implementation correctly, and if I have some time, then I can even ask like, how can you make your singleton class thread safe? So you should know about synchronized keywords here, and how can you make your singleton class as thread safe. You should also be familiar of double locking mechanism here, right? So that is what is expected of you. Now the next question, query validation. So this is not an interview question, and also I was not going to ask this interview question, but the candidate was not familiar with queries, and that was the requirement in the profile. So he told me that there is a certain team which provides them the query, and then they just append that query in their code. So I just got this question in mind, like do you just directly put your query in your code? Do you validate? How do you validate the queries? Because nowadays we all are using a lot of frameworks which provides us validation. So that is the intention of asking this question. So there is no correct answer for this, and even I don't know what to say about this here, but you should be familiar with JPA, Hibernate or Spring JDBC template, or if not, you should be even familiar with writing queries on your own, right? So this is the agenda of asking this question. Now let's move down to the next question. So now how can we get the list of student using Spring JDBC template? So Spring JDBC template is another alternate of using Hibernate. Now this can again be debatable, like if Hibernate is better or Spring JDBC template is better, but you should be familiar with like what is the advantage of using Spring JDBC template and what is the advantage of using Hibernate, because if the profile is requiring Hibernate, they are obviously going to ask you questions question on Hibernate, right? So now with JDBC template, what we can do is we can directly do a query of like select star from employee. With Hibernate we can use HQL. So what we do is in Spring JDBC template we have to use row mapper to get the values, right? So that is what I was asking of from the interview, right? Because he didn't told me that, so that is the intention. Like I didn't want him to write the entire code. I just wanted to know like whether he is aware of row mappers, because that is how we usually get the information from our database, right? So this was the intention of asking this question. And you can even search if you are familiar with the Spring JDBC template, that's good. Like you might have already gotten the answer, but if you're not familiar with Spring JDBC template, then that's okay also. You should be familiar with any framework, like it could be Hibernate, it could be JPA, right? Now let's move down to the next question, which is Hibernate versus Spring JDBC template. So I asked this question because the candidate was being confused. Like I asked him a lot of things because he was writing a lot of code. So I asked him that if we were to use Hibernate here, will there be any advantage? If he was actually working on Hibernate, then he could have easily told me that the lines will be lesser here. And Hibernate is a ORM tool basically, which is object relational mapping, which provides us a different kind of functionality, where JDBC template is a template over your traditional JDBCs. So also this can be debatable, like which one is faster, like performance wise, which can be better. But for me, like I can easily say that Hibernate is fast enough, or like you can say it is faster than your non-optimized JDBC code, right? So that is again debatable, but you should have some kind of additional points of saying like why JDBC is not faster and Hibernate is, right? So that is the expectation here. Now coming down to the last question, which is singleton bean versus singleton design pattern. So if you have seen the interview video, you already know that why we went to this question, and that was foolish of me also. Like I took some time to even going to this question, but this is again not a popular question but a tricky question, because we think that singleton bean is being implemented on singleton design pattern, but that is not the case. So singleton bean is like saying that only one and only one instance of a particular class is going to get created per class loader, right? So here you have to emphasize on per class loader, because depending on how many class loaders you have, there are going to be multiple singleton beans, which is actually opposing your singleton design pattern concept or singleton concept, right? So singleton basically says that we should create only one object. It doesn't matter whether it is per class loader or per Spring IOC container, right? So that is the difference here which I can talk about, because that is the thing that I was looking for, because singleton bean is not actually following singleton design pattern, because it is doing something else, right? So something else as in depending on your IOC container, it is doing something else. Otherwise you can say directly that yeah, only one instance is going to get created, but there is a catch, right? So that should be the expectation, like when I'm asking this question. And this is it what I had to cover. Now the last thing is going to be like how can we improve ourselves better. So a few things that is going to be like, this kind of a video is how I actually provides the mistakes that we usually do whenever we are giving an interview. Even nowadays I am also doing that, and I'm emphasizing on my mistakes so that I can improve them further. So you should always write down the questions which you were not able to answer correctly, and then read on that, so that you should know at least a few new things for your next interview. That is the first thing. Second is you can give mock interviews because those mock interviews are going to help you, because if a person is conducting your mock interview, he is always going to give you a proper feedback, which is not expected from the interviewers in your MNCs or in your organization, because not many interviewer usually do that, because everyone is busy, right? So that is that. And here I can say that I'm also conducting mock interviews, so if you want to give a mock, just let me know on the comment section of this video. I will try to reach you out. And the third thing is going to be never get confused. That is always going to be a problem for you in every interview. So if you think that you are right, you should be sure about it. If you are not sure, then the interviewer is going to think that even if this guy knows about it, he is not sure of what he knows. And that is always a problem for everyone, because in your every answer he is going to think like, even on this question he is not confident enough that he is answering the question correctly. So now there is no proper way to be confident about yourself. You should follow these first and second step, which I said, like write down your mistakes, improve on them, and then the second thing, give out mock interviews. So why I actually emphasized on this being nervous or being underconfident is because we think that this MNC or this organization is pretty big for me, I won't be able to go there. So you should make target, but you should never underestimate yourself. You can do anything, so just be confident about whatever you know and just give the interview on that knowledge itself, and then keep improving or keep adding to that knowledge, right? So this is what you should do, or you can do, to improve yourself further or improve your chances of getting shortlisted in the interview. So this is it for this video. If you are watching this video till now, then I can really like appreciate this, because it took me some time to even prepare this video, and like this is a big thank you also if you are watching this video. So this is it for this video. I hope we will meet in some another video. Till then, have a good day, stay safe, and bye bye.